Newsflash, guys, I can count.
Wow.
Hello,
The wise
welcome
words.
to the show.
In the wise words of Owen Wilson. Wow.
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 Hello, welcome to Two Other Guys. It's the show with two other guys.
I'm
Jeffrey.
Eli.
We're both people.
We're the other guys, you see.
Oh, I get it now. See, it's a joke. I get it. This makes sense now. Okay.
It's almost like we titled the podcast to be a joke, even though we enjoy doing this. And it's not that much of a joke.
Wow. Okay. So, I'm going to start off by saying I went to PAX East for a day. I only went for one day.
Did you key into the other things happening on the other days or just the one day?
I didn't. I mean, most of PAX East is just the show floor, so it's not like you get new announcements or things. It's just like there might be certain guests or panels that you don't get to see, and different wait times.
Right. Did you go on the busiest day or one of the lesser busy days?
So I went on Friday, which is pretty busy, but it's not Saturday at least.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I was there from about 10:30 to almost 5. I could have stayed longer, but I was with some friends that had to go and be at a place by like 6, so we had to leave a little bit earlier than I would have liked. But I got to check out a lot of stuff there. It's the show floor of PAX is definitely an overwhelming place.
Oh, I'd bet.
So there were a number of like AAA or like the big releases there. Obviously, like the big one that everyone knows about is Animal Crossing because people were going nuts over the display.
Did you get a chance to like play the demo or no?
No, I didn't play Animal Crossing because it was a 3-hour wait.
Oh, God.
If I had 4 days there, I would have said screw it. I'll play some Dragon Quest on the line and then play it. But when I only had 1 day for a game that was coming out less than a month from now, I just didn't care.
Yeah, I could see that. Was Doom Eternal also there, or did you just not really care that much?
So Doom Eternal was there. That was at the Discord booth, and I really wanted to play that, and so did my friends. But that was like a 2-hour wait.
Yeah.
And
Conventions do that.
You'd think if you got there early, you could avoid it, but we were there at like 10:30 looking at the Animal Crossing booth, and we realized that they hadn't even opened like the booth yet.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you got there early, like unless you got there so early that you just were the first person online, it's not like you could get there early where there just weren't as many people there because I don't think they let people start playing the game until almost 11.
And there are already people in line, I'm guessing?
Yeah, at that point, the line was actually capped. Like, you couldn't go online because they capped the lines.
Well, that makes sense.
So you might be in sort of a, like, queuing pool, but it's not really a line. So, I will say, at least they made that line kind of interesting because where they did, like, the snaking of the line, they actually had a screen up and they were doing like a hosted gameplay of, what's that game called? The Stretchers. Have you seen that game before?
I haven't seen it before, no.
Well, it's sort of like a Nintendo's, it's a game in the similar realm of like Overcooked, kind of one of those like goofy cooperative multiplayer games.
Okay.
But it's made by Nintendo, and I don't think that it's getting a lot of hype, even though it's like a Nintendo made, it kind of but feels like an indie game. So they were like playing that and showing it while you waited online. So at least there was like entertainment in that line, which was nice. But yeah, it was a 3-hour line. And also that line was a completely separate line from actually going into the like Animal Crossing like setup they had where you could like take pictures with little axes and pretend to cut down trees.
Oh, that's cute.
Did you see any of the pictures of the Animal Crossing island they set up?
No, I didn't. Remember, I hadn't really had time to really key into what was happening at PAX, which is why I'm glad you went so
Yeah.
you could tell me what happened.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you a picture of like what it looked like because it was pretty. I think it was one of the coolest displays I've seen at an event. But it was a separate line, so I looked at it and sat, while I was walking in, I looked and peered into it, and you could see what was happening. But I didn't have much interest then to just take a picture with someone in an Isabelle costume.
Right.
And then there was a third line if you wanted to get the My Nintendo Isabelle pin. And I did do that one. That line only took about 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, that was nice.
So I got that, but it was pretty. You couldn't really get extras. I'll put it that way, unless my friend also got a pin, because he made a little account right then, because you had to be a My Nintendo subscriber to get it.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's like, well, I got this. I'm just gonna hang on to it. So. But they had limited supply of those, but we went. That was one of the first things we did. So I got that, and to be honest, of all the 3 Animal Crossing things I could do, the physical pin is definitely the most interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
A picture is cool, and playing a demo of a game that's gonna have a demo in a week anyway doesn't really.
I can see why there'd be no interest there.
If it was a half hour, I would have done it, but I didn't want to waste 3 hours of my 6 I had trying to play Animal Crossing.
That booth looks really nice. I'm watching the video of it now.
It was so cool. It was the biggest booth. Nintendo had the biggest booth.
Yeah, because
it looked really cool.
Yeah, do you know why that is though?
Because of all the people that backed out.
Yeah, Nintendo got a massive show floor because of that. Specifically, Sony dropping out was the big kicker for it, but that was due to coronavirus concerns.
Yeah, so there was a lot of publishers and developers that dropped out. Sony was the biggest one, which I just took a look. I'll send you this link too. I just took a look at what they said they were going to show off, and man, there was a lot of stuff I would have wanted to see. Obviously, they were going to show off Final Fantasy VII, and that did get shown off. But you had to have a special ticket to play it, and I think you could only get that ticket if you came in through the main entrance, which I didn't. And they did that so you didn't have to deal with crazy lines, which I understood. But then they released a demo of that 3 days after PAX. So, I mean, I don't have a PS4, so I can't play the demo, but it's sort of you got a 2 day or 3 days sooner than everyone else. That's not really that big a deal. But Sony was also going to show off The Last of Us Part 2.
Oh, man. They were going to show that off, but they didn't. Oh, man, that must have been a bummer for a lot of people because I love that series. That series is one of my favorite games of all time.
I mean, they had the advertisements for it, and with the release date still up there, but there's just no booth for it. They also had P5R, Persona 5 Royal was apparently going to be shown off.
Oh man, that's a lot of good stuff.
There's a lot of other games here that I don't think are. Oh, they said Doom Eternal, but that also got shown off with it. But yeah, it was Discord showing it off, which was interesting. They're gonna show off Dreams, which was I think already out. MLB The Show, which is I don't know how much there's new to see there. And Spelunky 2, Trials of Mana, I think is also out on the Switch. But a lot of, just P5R and Last of Us Part 2, those are just 2 giant losses, I feel from the show. Granted, I wouldn't have had time probably to play them, but I would have been really wanting to play The Last of Us Part 2 if it was there.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, no, we a lot of the Last of Us community has been waiting for news on the game, and to have it be canceled at PAX it must be a huge blow.
But they just randomly dropped the release date for May, I think.
I gotta buy a PS4 now.
I'm just hoping the PS5 is backwards compatible, and then I can just buy all these PS4 games for it. I mean, I also think that both The Last of Us Part 2 and Final Fantasy 7 are just going to come out on the PS5.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the last PlayStation system I owned was the PS3, where I played the original Last of Us.
Right, I forgot that The Last of Us came out before PS4.
Yeah, yeah. And then they remastered it for the PS4.
Right, which is what I would have gotten.
Yeah, the game is honestly one of my favorite story-driven games of all time. It's beautifully written.
Story.
It's beautifully written. It's beautifully voice acted. It's just, and it's like, there are a lot of times where like a lot of people don't think video games are art, but there are a lot of like, because of the stylization tactics of games and a lot of like the large amounts of artistic prowess that go into the writing and the art style and the voice acting. I think that Last of Us is such a beautiful like way of putting all the elements of making games into art together that I think it is a masterpiece, not necessarily like a game or a piece of art. It is a masterpiece. It's a wonderful, wonderful game.
One of the things that I loved about the game, which is a very minor thing, but I've been noticing this since I've been playing Dragon Quest with like auto-scrolling text, is that I like how that game's cutscenes really did feel like a show or a movie and not a cutscene.
Oh yeah, I've recently finished playing the entire storyline. Now I'm in the post game of Dragon Quest, and it is really good. Like the voice acting is incredible. Even the English voice acting I think is very, very good.
I was talking about The Last of Us, and actually I was saying in comparison to Dragon Quest, because I feel like in Dragon Quest, even when it has the auto-scrolling like text, you still get these weird pauses. But The Last of Us, it really felt like, oh, I'm in like, this is like treated like a movie or a TV show, not like just a video game cutscene.
That is true. But the thing that Dragon Quest can do that a lot of games don't is even the in-engine cutscenes feel like there's no like blackout, come back in, you're in a cutscene, it just goes straight in.
Yeah, that is very nice. So obviously we had those guys. Oh, Capcom wasn't there. And
really?
They were gonna show off a Monster Hunter game.
I've been so excited for Monster Hunter 5. Oh my god. I'm so upset now.
They said it was going to be Monster Hunter Festiva event was planned and then got canceled.
Jeez, I wonder what that means, because Iceborne expansion came out for the PC in January, and then it came out in like I think either October or earlier for console players.
Mm-hmm.
And Iceborne was a pretty big success. The only reason I haven't gotten it is because there's a lot of really bad like latency, and not latency but like lag issues PC side because of their anti-cheat system.
Got it.
So instead of like having like a really clear-cut anti-cheat system like a Valve's VAC system, they run multiple instances of the game at the same time, which really eats up your RAM and cause your computer to overheat.
So do they run multiple instances of RAM to cross-check to see if one of them's acting weird?
Yep, that's what they do. Which is that's not a good system. They need to like fix that, and that's why I haven't bought Iceborne for the PC yet, because of those issues.
This is a little bit off topic, but since you've always wanted me to get into Monster Hunter, and I would like to, but I'm just so confused by the game. Can you fully play that game in multiplayer?
For an aspect, yes, you can. But for story, for certain quests that you can get specific materials for to make these like exclusive armor sets, there is a single player aspect to the game. But for the most part, playing the game initially, I played the entire game multiplayer.
Okay, because that's what I would want to do if I played that game.
You can, but I honestly like soloing hunts and like single playering hunts makes you feel really good. It like makes you feel like, oh, I'm actually good at this game. I can do this by myself.
Well, I that too, but I'm just so like I downloaded the demo for the one on the Switch. Is that Monster Hunter World?
That's Generations Ultimate.
Okay, so I had the demo for that, and I just didn't know what my buttons did.
I did promise you that I'd show you how to like really play the game, and it's like so cheap. You can get it for like $20.
Yeah, so I want to see if that can be done like online, and could play it together, because that's what I would want to do. I feel like that's what I want with almost so many RPGs now, is just to be able to do them like MMOs.
Yeah, Monster Hunter was always very good about that.
I think that's a very, like, every time I play an RPG now, I want to do it like that, so it's like more like D&D.
Well, with all these CRPGs making the rise again on like PC platforms, I think you might have that opportunity to do it single player, because Baldur's Gate 3 is coming out and is in production. The Baldur's Gate series is basically like what CRPG stands for is classic RPG. So it's like you basically control your party in game, and
No,
you.
but
Have
I
to
mean, I
do
literally
shit.
want to play it like do D&D, like D&D style, as in I do a thing with my friend, but I don't control what my friend does.
I see. Okay.
But then I can yell at my friend about what he's doing in the game.
Yeah. No. I think that's a like to have a multiplayer RPG. I think is a really big opportunity that I haven't really seen a lot of companies capitalize on.
Yep.
Like
Uh,
to have your friend battle alongside you in like a full story game like Dragon Quest or otherwise, with like your own player character like getting their own abilities and you sort of being able to pigeonhole them into certain like niches to like play with your friends and make progress.
yeah, I think it'd be really fun. I mean, that's what we were talking about in like what we want Pokemon to do.
Yeah, it sounds very World of Warcraft to me.
I mean, it kind of is, but like I also love Xenoblade because the way that it handles its battle system is literally an arts palette like World of Warcraft.
Yeah, basically. So I think you just need to get into more MMOs.
Maybe that's what I need to do.
Yeah. I mean, like, I stopped playing WoW because the subscription was too expensive and it
That's
was
why I don't want
just
to do.
eating at my wallet.
I don't want to do subscription based games that also like I don't like the ones that don't like. I want to do that with actual story, or free form. I don't really like the. I don't know. I just haven't gotten into an MMO though. I feel like they're just particularly hard to get into in a way that like an RPG teaches you what to do, but an MMO really doesn't usually.
Mm-hmm. I see your point, yeah.
But back to PAX, so those are like the big missing ones. There are a lot of other really cool things that were shown off. I went to the Kerbal Space Program 2 booth and waited a lot longer than I should have in that line because it looked like it was a really short line. And when we got on it, it was moving really fast, but then we realized that it wasn't like a playable demo, so there was a constant like flow. It was actually like a 16-minute presentation in their little booth.
Mm-hmm.
So they would get like 20 people in, but then you'd have to wait 16 minutes of the line not moving. So I think we waited through like 3 or 4 cycles of that, so it might have been close to an hour, which I probably wouldn't have signed up for had I known it was an hour, but then I had already waited too long once I had gotten on it to back out.
Right.
But that was really cool to see what Kerbal Space Program 2 is doing.
It's one of those. It's really nice to see those like big like indie games sort of like be able to capitalize on a big thing like PAX because they deserve it, especially Kerbal.
Yeah, they had a really nice booth. When you walked in, you looked like you were like walking into a little like spacecraft kind of thing.
Oh, that's nice.
But it was basically they just showed a video. So they had the first video they showed was just like sort of like kind of showing how good their first game was, and then they did like a trailer, just a short trailer for the second game, and then their main thing was they showed a lot more like in-game footage, and it kind of, I don't want to say like Nintendo Direct style, but like it was a pre-crafted like in-game sort of showing off what all the new things are.
Right.
So they added it's a lot of quality of life changes for like, I mean, you've played Kerbal, right? Like at least once or twice.
Yeah, I played the game a few times.
So what they improved like the rocket building. They like organized the parts a lot better, but they also made it that you can like build sub-assemblies, so you don't need to, everything doesn't need to attach to the rocket immediately. You can build off to the side and like then attach it.
Oh, cool.
Which is really helpful. They also made it a lot more like icon heavy and easier to like figure out what you're doing
That's good.
in that, and like just made it more organized. And they also added a blueprint mode, so you can like actually like see if you're like at correct angles and stuff, which I think is a really helpful feature.
Oh, that sounds like really good. Like quality at the base level, their quality of life improvements.
Yeah. And then for like the flying, they added a lot more UI that was useful and like including like retrograde and like indicators so you know like at what angle you're like hitting the surface at and can keep track of. I and like a much better way of showing how your craft is actually oriented, which was neat. But what's the coolest thing is they're adding space stations.
Ooh.
Well, they're adding space stations and colonies. So the whole point is you're supposed to like explore the galaxy or whatever, and then not just like land, but actually like build places where you can build new launch pads to like basically planet hop.
That's really cool.
So they're doing like yeah on planet colonies and like space station colonies, which are both really cool, and space station colonies with the specific purpose of being so big that they can launch rockets off of them.
Man, that sounds like some really really amazing stuff. That's
And
exciting.
they also showed off like new like pieces that they're using. So they've added I don't know what it's called, but basically it's a rocket engine that just drops nukes to propel itself.
Oh my god.
But the way it works is like imagine if like they overly animated like Mega Man's blaster so that like every time it like shot it like fired and then like recoiled.
Yeah.
Imagine like that's what it looks like at the bottom of a rocket. It's just like spitting out little bombs.
I love that. That's fantastic.
And they were like, but make sure to don't do this on the surface because that would be bad.
Because that would be bad.
And basically, they like end up being with the idea was these space stations can launch rockets that can get you to other stars.
So they're going to. They're trying to make it like interstellar. Like they're trying to make it like multi-system.
Exactly.
That's kind of like No Man's Sky style in a way.
Yeah, so actually, yeah, I was thinking about that when I watched it, that it felt like it was doing the sort of No Man's Sky kind of idea of like being able to explore all of these like new planets and stuff. But I actually feel like this is gonna, because it knows exactly what it's trying to be and it's not like a survival game, it's a rocket sim game,
Yeah.
that I feel like it's gonna have a lot better time of being able to do that. And also, it's much more about, it's not really about like exploring the planet because all these planets are generally homogenous and you're not going to find a lot of interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you will find like new things on the planets that like help with like your exploration. But I like that the focus still here is on building funny rockets.
Yeah, that's good. Because that is the core of the game, you know? Like, the market's already around No Man's Sky for that sort of thing, so that's fine.
So that one I'm really excited for. I also played the demo for the SpongeBob Battle of Bikini Bottom Rehydrated.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. You're telling me that it was really, really fun.
That was so much fun. That like absolutely scratched my like niche for like early 2000s 3D platformers. Because honestly, like the 3D platformer in the Mario 64 style is almost a dead concept. Like no one makes them anymore.
Right.
And the last one you could say was Odyssey, and I already have my own issues with Odyssey with how it devalues collecting the main collectible because there's so many of them
Mm-hmm.
that you can sort of accidentally stumble into what you need. Whereas like Battle of Bikini Bottom has more of the Mario 64 style of like each world has like 7 to 10 kind of stars or golden spatulas or whatever.
As opposed to, like, 30.
Yeah, I mean, my always thing with Mario Odyssey is I missed a jump once and thought I was dead, and instead I got a moon for it. And I was like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's... This isn't Assassin's Creed. You don't need to take a leap of faith.
I literally just missed the jump. Like, I just was bad at Mario. I just poorly platformed and got rewarded for it.
Interesting mechanic, Nintendo. But, like, you
Grant,
know,
like,
that's Mario Odyssey. You know, that's...
It's a fantastic game.
Yeah.
I still prefer the the pure style of how Mario 64 worked, and how it actually felt like you had to really learn how each of the worlds worked and had to really work to find the stars.
Yeah, it's like Mario 64, Banjo, Spyro, all those like early 2000s platformers really like are they're not what's the word I'm thinking of? They're not necessarily niche games, but they are like classics in that way because
Well,
like they felt rewarding. They felt like you really were working towards something.
they had a lot to do with where the industry was at that point. I mean, you probably remember that at that time, movie tie-in games were 3D platformers.
Oh,
Like on
totally.
the PS2 and
Oh,
like
yeah.
GameCube. That's what the standard, like, oh, you're making a game. That's what the game is. And then it kind of felt, and then the Wii turned it into more like mini games collections essentially.
Right.
And now like tie-in games just kind of don't really happen that much. I
Yeah,
mean,
because the industry has moved toward more towards new IPs and new like and continuations of older IPs.
well, also they realize that the shovelware doesn't really work. But then you also have things like SpongeBob for a Battle Bikini Bottom is a complete tie-in game that isn't shovelware. It's great.
Can you explain what you mean by shovelware?
Shovelware is in like it's just a cash grab and not very good.
Right. Okay.
The kind of games that after a year sell for $5 at Target or what everyone exchanges at games, exchanges back in at GameStop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alvin and the Chipmunks from the Nintendo Wii is shovelware.
Yeah, that makes sense. You could argue that Speed Racer was shovelware, but that game was actually phenomenal.
Well, that's why it's not shovelware.
Yeah.
But it sells like shovelware.
And because people didn't like it, but you and I have such an
Well,
attachment to that game.
well, also people didn't play that game. That was the other thing. Like no one played it. Granted, you also had to learn how to play the game properly because that game uses, and we're gonna do an episode on this game because it deserves its own episode. But that game uses Wii wheel steering. But if you try to steer it like a steering wheel, it won't work. You have to steer it like a balance beam.
Yeah. Yeah. But that also made the controls really, really easy.
Yep.
Like
So
we'll get into this in the episode in which we dive into this game because I think it definitely, like you said, it definitely deserves its own episode because this game holds a very special place in both Jeff and I's hearts because we played it so much in like middle school, high school. Hell, if we see each other, we'd still probably play it.
yes.
But we'll have a whole episode on that game another time.
Yeah. So those were like the main things that I played, but I want to go through some of the other things that were there. We had the Wonderful 101 remake or remaster was already being showed off, which we talked about like 2 episodes ago that they just funded the Kickstarter.
Now they're past
So
funding, yeah?
oh, they blew it away. But that leads me to believe that I think and I found this out after the fact, is that Nintendo actually offered to publish the remake, but Platinum wanted to put it on other consoles. So they had already were making the game, so this Kickstarter was just to publish it on like PC and PS4.
Oh, that's nice.
So it wasn't even like we need funds to develop this game. It's just no, we just need to be able to publish it on the consoles that we want to publish it on. Because they just didn't want because Nintendo was only going to publish it for the Switch.
Right.
So, I mean, that's fine with Platinum, but it's kind of funny that just like, so that's how they did it?
I mean, that's not the worst thing in the world. A lot of companies want to go self-publish these days for that exact reason.
Well, also what it means is that the Kickstarter, I think like, I didn't donate to it, but I would have been donating, if I did, I would have been donating on the thought of like, oh, I want this game to come out again, for it to happen. When really, it was already going to happen. It was just for what consoles? Which is a little bit weird because I feel like I might have been donating to the wrong cause, but at the same time, a Kickstarter like this is just a glorified pre-order.
Basically.
Because that's what you do. That's what the perk is for giving, like the price of the game is you get a copy of the game. So really, it was just Platinum also doing basically its own pre-order.
Which is not the worst thing in the world, because
I
you
mean, I
probably
like
would have bought
Platinum.
the game for that price anyway.
They're not ripping anyone off. It's just like it's just funny how that actually ended up playing out.
Yeah, I mean, self-publishing is a really big thing in the industry right now, which was sort of set as a precedent by Bungie when they removed themselves from Activision
Mm-hmm.
and decided to self-publish Destiny, and the
Yeah,
game exploded in popularity. So self-publishing is really the way to go these days.
especially if you want to have multi-platform.
Yeah, especially because before on PC, Destiny was sort of relegated to the Battle.net
Mm-hmm.
launcher. Now that it's on Steam, it's reaching more audiences. It has the highest player base, I think, in its entire lifespan. There have been, I think I heard a rumor, but I think it's probably not true, that Destiny 1 was going to get remastered and then released on PC. But
That'd
I
be cool.
don't think that's going to happen.
So I didn't play Wonderful 101 because I already owned the game and I didn't want to play the demo for it because I
Yeah.
own it
If
already.
it was the sequel, it'd be a different story, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I did see people playing it, which was pretty cool. Uh, well, also as I say on the publishing thing, that like Platinum is also like it's in this Platinum is such a strange developer because it's like a second party developer for Nintendo, like Rare was, because Nintendo publishes a lot of their stuff, but Platinum is also owned by Sega. Like Sega owns like the Bayonetta train bark.
Yeah, and it's also the same deal with Atlas, I think, but Atlas being a second party for Sony.
Yeah. Does Atlas develop Shin Megami Tensei though too? I think they
They
do.
they do, yeah. I mean,
So
like,
they're not second party. I don't think they're a second party developer. I think they just have exclusivity deals for each of those. Once I mean, because it's always been that way. Shin Megami Tensei has always been Nintendo, and Persona has always been PlayStation.
yeah. But that's also a matter of them still being owned by Sega.
Yeah. Apparently, I heard a thing that um, the best way to get like Persona on the Switch is just keep talking about it. So I'm gonna keep talking about it.
Put Persona on the
Bring
Switch. I want to play Persona 5 on the Switch.
There you go. Um,
Just
some
manifest
other
it. Manifest
other
it.
man must manifest Persona.
I mean, I
Um,
remember when the whole rumors were coming out about like Persona 5 Scramble and how that was going to be
yeah.
Persona 5 for the Switch.
I mean, yeah, PA5S sounds
Yeah,
like Persona 5 for Switch.
but it just didn't happen. But instead, we got this game that I remember you were talking about the demo last time, and you said you
Pretty
liked it.
fun.
Yeah.
I can't wait for it to be in English so I can understand what's happening.
Anyway, what were you
There
gonna
was
say?
I was going to go back to some PAX stuff. There was a really big Final Fantasy 14 online presence, and I always forget that some of those games are still massive because I just don't know people who play them.
If you want to check out an MMO, I think it might be a good idea for us to look at Final Fantasy 14 because I've heard some really amazing things about their latest expansion. So that might be worth us checking out.
They probably were showing off that expansion there or something like that, but I think it's just such a big like I think people don't realize that like especially I think it's really big in Japan too that like how much bank that game actually makes.
Oh, totally. That's basically one of the things that's keeping Square Enix alive. That game is making so much money.
I mean, Square Enix makes plenty good money on their games, but like man, is that just a money like that's just constant revenue.
Oh, totally.
Also that game has like been around for a long time, hasn't it?
Let me look at the initial release date real quick.
I mean, I'm just also thinking about like timelines of like when did 10 and 11 and 12 come out? Like they didn't come out in 2012. They came out before then. So I think 14's pretty
It
old.
originally released for Windows and PlayStation 3 in 2013. It's been around for 7 years.
That's not too bad considering like League is still played all the time and that's older.
League is only 10 years old. Yeah.
So that was there. I didn't stop by, but it was a big thing. There was this interesting game, and I only really know anything about it because it was next to SpongeBob when I was waiting in line. The game's called Fuser.
Fuser. Okay,
I'm
you
gonna,
have my
I'm gonna,
attention.
I'm gonna send you the link to it. It's made by Harmonix,
That's
which
a name I
made
haven't heard in a while.
yeah, Harmonix, which made the Dead series Rock Band. You know.
Oh, yeah, that game. I still play
So
that game.
Eli, do you know the game DJ Hero?
I do actually. I remember that game. I wanted to get it for like the PS2.
So this game heavily reminded me of it. The way that it works is you basically play like as a DJ kind of person, and you have this like panel in front of you, and it looks like it has 4 record like scratch discs on it.
Yeah.
And what you do is the game comes bundled with a lot of music, for example, and it splits every like song into like 4 components that are color coded, but it's like it's a beat, a bass, a lead, and a vocal, and they're color coded. And what you do is you just pick those aspects of a song, of different songs, and place them onto your like record table, and it just auto like mixes them for you.
Honestly, this looks pretty cool.
Except for the fact, Eli, that like we're both musicians, and it doesn't do it very well.
Oh, oh no.
Well, for example, it has to do like BPM correction and key correction to make things sound right, but it doesn't do it in a very nuanced or interesting way. So I think it just defaults on what was been there the longest. So if you have just whatever backbeat drum pattern you pick from a song, it's just going to speed up every other track or slow it down so it fits the BPM. Which is like, but it doesn't do it in a very nuanced way. It just only does that. And it also does the same thing for like the key of the song, but it doesn't like think very hard about how to do it. I think it just like, oh, this song has this key value, and then it just kind of does, like, it doesn't even do like a pitch correction. It just speeds up the track until it's the correct key. That's all it does.
Oh, God. Oh, because also I was looking at the songs they had that they're releasing.
That's a whole other thing that we have to go through the song list because it is a mixed bag.
Oh my God! Yeah, I'm looking at this. What the hell? You got "Don't Fear the Reaper" by Blue Oyster Cult.
Well,
also
okay,
with All Star.
Yeah. So here's the thing: is it like you look at it and you think, oh, it's got like the songs you expect. Like it has like the 2019 big songs, "Bad Guy," "Old Town Road," "Good as Hell." You know, has those, and then next to it you have. It goes back into the year that'll never die in music, 2012, with "Party Rock Anthem" by LMFAO, "Born This Way" by Lady Gaga.
And then you've also got like classic rock tunes like "Don't Fear the Reaper" and "Rock the Casbah," and also
The Clash.
You got the Clash in there, and then you just have "All Star" by Smash Mouth for some reason.
Yeah.
What? And then you got "Thunder" by Imagine Dragon. What the hell is this?
So it's all over the place, and the thing is, what you inevitably create are these horrible, mashed up monstrosities. So while I was on the line for SpongeBob, they were just like having the thing going, and they had like a massive booth. Do you see in these pictures that they have this like angel sphinx stage thing?
Yeah.
They basically had that there, like they recreated it, but it was like not that big.
Mm-hmm.
But basically it was just like happening, and then like some woman comes up and she's like, "All right, guys," and she was like clearly being this hype like woman, but wasn't very good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And she was hyping up this like Xbox One giveaway, and she kept reading out tickets. And I think it took her through 6 different like raffle tickets to actually find somebody who bothered to show up with the ticket.
Oh my God.
To win like a custom Fuser Xbox One, and I guess they were doing one of these every day for different consoles because it's coming out on every console. And then they like she introduces this DJ who's coming up, and you think like, oh, they're gonna have some like DJ'd music. That's kind of cool. It's some DJ that you've never heard of that was completely white and overweight.
Mm-hmm.
When you're like, cool, this guy looks like someone who's gonna DJ my prom. And then what he does is he picks up a PlayStation controller because they were filming it, and you could see it on the TVs, and you're like, oh no, he's just gonna play the game. This actual DJ is just going to play this game.
Rather than do what he was probably paid to do.
And then you realize that, oh, you can't do anything interesting in this game. So basically the entire set was just him putting you just have like the bass and the drums of Old Town Road with the synth of Bad Guy, and then a horribly sped up all-star lyrics over it.
That sounds entertaining, but also just like the most annoying thing possible.
And it was, but the thing is, the guy's there and he's like trying to bop to it, and then he'll do like kind of like he's like sticks the hand out kind of thing that every DJ does, but like it's not good to listen to. And then it'll be like, oh, he's gonna change it, and then he just switches what synth part is playing, and you're like, oh, okay. And the thing is, like, I guess there is a campaign in this game, but you just kind of sit there, and it doesn't end, and you make the like same kind of like mashups that, from having played music, that no one finds interesting. No one thinks it's cool when you mash up two songs together because they're kind of similar. And this one, they mash up songs that aren't similar at all.
Oh my god. Okay, I was like, this looks kind of cool, but now I'm just like, oh god, they're actually making this.
It's just like just someone that like has to edit this podcast. I'm just like, oh my god, this is so basic and so like the worst way to do this. Like, hey, if this game gets you interested in audio like production, that's cool, but man, is this not audio production?
This is nowhere close to what actually happens ever.
I also do you really like this e-girl that they make the main character? Isn't she so stereotypical?
It's literally the most bland design I've ever seen. She looks like she's out of Arms.
She does look like she's from Arms.
And don't get me wrong, I feel like I'm doing Arms dirty because I actually really like that game.
I'm gonna just give you a mental picture of this girl. She's of some sort of mixed race, but they don't actually tell you, like, you can't tell what it is, which seems normal. She's wearing just like what essentially look like Adidas shorts and a sports bra, except they're very like hot pink wild colors, and she has a half-shaved, half-long like head, and her hair is all red.
Also, she has flower tattoos and many wristbands.
I like how her wristbands are also just the ones to get entrance into the venue that she's performing in.
Yeah, they're not even like interesting bracelets. This is the most bland design I've ever seen. Like, even Guitar Hero and Rock Band had more interestingly designed like base characters than this. This is just...
Yep. And so this is also coming into like, yeah, from the creators of Rock Band, and we're like, aren't these genres dead? Like, no one cares about these genres. So I really expect this game to flop, and I will then buy it for $3 so I can mash up Old Town Road with Party Rock Anthem.
It's gonna be great.
By the way, me and Eli playing this game, like, drunk at my house would be... I think we would die.
I think we would actually... That would be the... I think you've just made a great plan. That sounds like the funniest thing possible.
Well, it's coming to Switch, but I'm not... If this game releases for $60, I'm not buying it. I'll buy it for like $5. I'll do that.
$5. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, really. So there's that. What other stuff was at PAX? Lots of stores, a lot of indie stuff to check out. There are a lot of really cool-looking indie games there, but I really didn't get a chance to check them out. I really wish I had another day at PAX where I could have just done like the indie game, like go around and just play these games that you don't have to wait super long for.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there's a game called like Magequit that my friends played while I was waiting for SpongeBob, and they said it was really fun.
Oh, good.
But I don't know a lot about it. I think it's a Steam game.
That'll be a checkout for sure. Absolutely. Magequit. Cool.
I think that's what it is, but I just searched it up and it looks like it just comes up with World of Warcraft stuff. So I'll let you know.
I mean,
I'll
an
update.
MMO is an MMO, and I know that now you suddenly have interest in MMOs.
I don't think it was an MMO though, so I'm
Huh.
not really sure what it was. I never played it, but I will update when I know more on that. Um, I
Do
went
you
to a
want to go?
YouTube panel
Ooh,
and talked to Nathaniel Bandy for a bit. That was neat.
cool.
Um, and they talked about some like of the YouTube analytics and actually how YouTubers get paid, which was very interesting. But I don't know. I mean, I guess we put stuff on YouTube now, but besides that, not a lot to do with that.
Yeah.
Um, and then I did a decent amount of shopping at like vintage and like import stores, which was cool. I found a copy of Chibi Robo, which I bought, which I'm very excited about because
Didn't you already
Chibi
have the
Robo.
amiibo for that?
Yeah, the Chibi Robo amiibo, which means I also have Chibi Robo Ziplash, which is a terrible, terrible thing.
Oh, great.
I only bought that because I found it at Best Buy, and I think the bundle was being sold for $20. And I'm like, I want the amiibo and not the game, but the game just comes with this, I guess. So I bought the GameCube Chibi Robo, like the good one.
The good one. That's
I'm
cool.
very excited. I'm very excited to play that. It's sort of like a 3D puzzle platformer that takes place in a house, which I think is really cool. So when I have when I start playing on my GameCube again, I'll definitely play that one. And I also got a Celica amiibo, which I don't actually care about Celica, but Celica looks a lot like Melia, and I'm making Xenoblade custom amiibos, so that was really helpful to get that for only $30 when if you try to go on Amazon or eBay, it could be like 60.
Yeah, I'm sure that was nice. And you also found the two amiibos that I've been looking for a while for a decent price. But
Oh,
the
I mean, I could have gotten those, but I had already left when you responded.
yeah, no, I was
But
in classes all day.
that was a booth from I'm going to read off the name so that I give them some press because it is a store that's in New York.
Is it? Oh, now I gotta go.
Yep. It is called Video Games New York.
To
That's
Google I
literally what it's
go.
called.
To Google I go.
Yep. They do a lot of Japanese import stuff. Um so like I was really tempted. They had the physical release of Okami HD, which is only in Japan, and I was very tempted to buy it, but it was pretty expensive, so I didn't. And that's the kind of game that like it's not too hard to find that I think on Amazon or eBay physical. And I have been slowing down my sort of game library of like purchasing games if I don't think I'm gonna play them for a while. And for me, buying Okami HD doesn't make a lot of sense when I still have to play through Link's Awakening on my own system, that which fits the Zelda theme, and still would also really like to actually finish Wind Waker HD or
Mm-hmm.
restart and finish. Lots of board game stuff there too. Almost bought Catan for myself because I think that game is. Eli, do you play Catan?
I played it a few times. I never really fully understood it, but I thought it was fun.
I really enjoy it. I would like to do more Cataning.
Yeah, you can teach me how to play the game better than I know how because I really don't understand the game.
It's pretty. The strategy is somewhat complicated and a little bit random, but the actual like method of playing the game is pretty easy. I mostly figured it out by watching Markiplier play it actually, and then
Ah,
played one game with people who knew how to play it and figured it out.
cool. Also, apparently this video games New York store is very close to me, so I've got no reason not to go.
Definitely worth checking out. I thought they would only have like. I was surprised. Like I asked for like the Celica amiibo, and I assumed they would just take the one that was on the shelf that I had looked at, and they just went to the back and grabbed another one. So I was like, oh, they got like a number of these.
I guess I gotta go there for my amiibo hunting.
Yeah, I really wanted to. I was very tempted to buy like three other ones, but where I'm at in my amiibo collection is that there's none that I'm specifically looking for, except for ones to make my customs out of. So like there was Bayonetta there, and I was like, Ooh, like that's a cool one and a hard to find one, but I didn't get it. And I've actually seen Bayonetta amiibos around on eBay for like 25, which is about the same price because they were selling basically every amiibo for 30.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, besides ones that like you obviously wouldn't charge 30 for because they're easy to get.
Yeah, I mean, like the ones that I'm looking for that are hard to find are the Samus Returns amiibos.
I really want those for myself too, but it's because I think it's such a cool Samus figurine, but I can't buy every amiibo
Yeah.
yet.
Yet. Haha, that's the key word. I mean, my collection's not terrible. It's small, but I like all the ones that I have.
Mine's been growing quite a bit in the past couple of months, partially because I've been getting ones for customs, but it was really hard for me to buy Smash Bros. Series figurines to customize without also buying an original, like a one to keep.
Right.
So I ended up getting Zero Suit Samus, Little Mac, and Wii Fit trainers, like 2 of each, so that I have one to destroy and one to just keep. And I ended up getting a Villager one too, because I found it on eBay like bundled together with one of them really cheap. And then I found the gold Shovel Knight at a GameStop.
Yeah, I've been looking for that one. I've been trying to find it. Like, I've been looking for the 3-pack too.
I haven't seen the 3-pack anywhere. That one wasn't even at the import store, which is a bummer because that is one I would want to get, but I haven't seen it.
Well, it's funny because the 3-pack was available at the Yacht Club Games booth.
It was?
It was. That's why I texted you about it.
Maybe I couldn't find that booth, so maybe I never like stumbled upon it. So had I known, I would have tried to make a run over there, but I never found where it was, I guess.
Yeah. Speaking of Yacht Club Games, they did a direct style presentation on the 26th, like a week. Was that like the week of or the week before PAX?
I think it was about a week before. It was right around when the Animal Crossing Direct was happening too.
Yeah, and they I know you haven't watched this, so I'm going to give you a very quick rundown. A bunch of balance changes for Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, a bunch of like.
I'm gonna take a look at it right now.
Okay, but the most important thing I think is the first thing they show off, and which makes me very excited.
Is this? I'm like, is this Ninja Gaiden?
Almost. It's their new game, but it's really good.
The amiibo support. I like how this game has more amiibo support than Nintendo games.
Yeah, it literally just gives you like a little floating Shovel Knight or a little floating Spectre Knight.
I know, it's adorable.
It's great. It's one of the reasons why I want the amiibos. So I can play Cyber Shadow and like have like all the Shovel Knight characters just like chilling by my friggin' Cyber Ninja. God. Also, like, were you listening to the music of it?
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, like Yacht Club Games really like brings retro into the new age. It's really their innovation is wonderful, I think.
Are there 4 Shovel Knight games, or are they all just like DLC?
They're technically all different games. Like all have different level design. They all have different different bosses and stuff. Like they're all different games, but they're all just set in the same universe, so they feel like DLC in a way. Like the only one that I've played was I've played obviously the original Shovel Knight.
Wait, why did they just show Shovel Knight with Kratos?
Because I think Shovel Knight was he was in one of those indie fighting games. I can't remember which one.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Brawlhalla. Rivals of Aether. He's in Rivals of Aether.
Am I gonna have to buy all the Shovel Knight collection now?
The only thing is I've been looking for the original Shovel Knight and I can't find it. Maybe they'll have it at that store you were talking about.
I have a physical Wii U copy, which was hard to find.
Of Shovel Knight?
Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
The Wii U.
I don't mind not having a physical copy of the game. If I can find like Treasure Trove for the Switch, I'll be fine.
Shovel Knight stickers, that's funny.
Hell yeah.
If only people liked stickers.
I do.
We should... Yeah, I'll have to get some sticker packs that and only use them with you, because you're the only person that will like them.
Hell yeah. I mean, like, it's kind of nice to see, like, games sort of, like, branching out in that way, because that's fun, you know?
It's a good for people that are, like, in your friend group that like also like the game, and it's awful if you're not that person. So Treasure Trove is all 4 games plus the fighting game plus the card game.
Yep, that's right.
Geez, I should get that. Considering I think mine only has the first game.
It does, because Treasure Trove is every game.
Okay, I really want the Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon game.
It looks so fun, right?
Yeah.
But
Puzzle Knight.
Puzzle Knight. Hell yeah, Puzzle Knight.
Oh, he's got the sassy finger wave.
He's a sassy boy.
Ah, I missed it at PAX East. I should have watched this beforehand.
Yeah, no, that's why I was telling you about it, because they were selling the amiibos at the booth, and I figured you'd be interested in that. I mean, like, since they're just released, the 3-pack is just released, you can get it for like the actual price. I think it's discounted by like $2 on Amazon right now.
The 3-pack?
Yeah.
Of amiibos? I thought that released like 2 years ago.
Well, they re-released it, obviously. Because it's like...
Going on Amazon now.
Yeah, like the 3-pack's pretty cheap. It's like $32 for it.
Excuse me. Well, why do I need... That's an insanely good price. I'm just going to buy it off of Amazon.
Yeah.
The 3-pack.
Yeah. But
I don't need to go to PAX to do that.
Well, still, you get to talk to the creators of Shovel Knight because they were doing giveaways.
Oh, I'm sure, but I can't hit everything.
True, but
like, I don't feel like I missed out on this. I thought I would never find these again. Eli, I have $20 of Amazon gift cards like in my room right now. After this podcast, I'm immediately buying this.
Fair. That's very fair.
Well, Eli, it's also that like amiibos retail for like $15 to $16 each, so this is like an insanely good value amiibo 3-pack.
Well, now I gotta buy it. Dang.
You don't have to.
I'm gonna, because I want these anyway. The only thing I'm missing is the original Shovel Knight.
That's actually surprisingly like I guess hard to get now. Oh,
it's like $65.
I'm seeing one for $50. I haven't looked on eBay for it. But just because I have it and I haven't looked.
Yeah. Anyway, so what are your thoughts on Cyber Shadow?
That looks really cool. I thought it was a really I like the. It seems like the Ninja Gaiden, or is Ninja Gaiden a game like that? Yeah, that's like Ninja Gaiden, I think. 'Cause Ninja Gaiden's not a hack and slash.
No, it's not. It's a platformer.
Yeah, I feel like that's really cool to get. We get like a Ninja Gaiden sort of rethought, because I feel like Ninja Gaiden hasn't gotten that sort of treatment yet. Like the Metroidvanias have definitely gotten their new stuff, and even like Shovel Knight, which takes lots of different aspects, even from things like Zelda 2. Like a lot of those classic NES platforming games have gotten sort of a modern treatment, and I think this is really cool to get like another one of those games getting that sort of modern treatment.
Right.
And I think this is going to be a great team to do it.
Yeah, they're really Yacht Club Games knows what they're doing in terms of like making really cool quality games with like new modern rehashes of classic themes. It's really, really wonderful what they do.
Yeah. But like for me personally, like I just don't have a lot of interest in the new 2D platformers in the style of NES games. It's just not the most interesting thing for me because I have no level of nostalgia for it.
I mean, they can still be fun games to play, though. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a really cool game. I just don't know if it's like, I'm not going to pick it up probably really quickly, but it looks really fun. Looks like a really good game.
Yeah, I'm going to pick it up pretty quick because I love those kinds of games. Like I had bought a game on Steam recently called Sundered Eldritch Edition because I'm such a Metroidvania fanboy. I love those kinds of games. And that game is really fun. It's a cool story. That's like, you figure the game out as you play. And I feel like all these tutorial heavy games nowadays, you don't really get to figure out the game as you play anymore.
Yeah, I do like it when I feel like the game is free of tutorials or doesn't give you just so much of it.
Yeah, it's like we don't need to know how to play every aspect of the game right off the bat. That's what Aaron makes a lot of that point.
As I say, this is just you're just talking sequelitis now.
I am just talking sequelitis because he's right. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge thing of just like showing, not telling, and like all the things that Aaron talks about in that episode are totally about like experiential like design, about like you don't need a text box to tell someone how to do something if the way that you make your level forces them to figure it out anyway.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I think Mega Man 11 is very, very underrated. It just went back to the formula and did a very good job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like there were aspects of the game that did have to explain, like the gear switch. That was a really kind of confusing mechanic, but once you get the hang of it, after they explained it like a little bit, it was like a fun mechanic and really added something new to the game.
Text boxes are fine. It's just when you over rely on them or when they break up the flow of battle, or flow of the game, they really suck.
Yeah. I mean, that I just keep thinking of RPGs in that sense because RPGs are basically text boxes. That's what they are.
Well, they have different things. Like, I don't mind, you have to talk to a person, that's fine. But I don't like it when I get and sometimes the pop-up windows of, like, this is how this thing works are, like, helpful. But it's also, like, and, like, I like that there is, like, a window for it that you can, like, view this stuff later if you forget. Mm-hmm. But also, like, just most recent example, like, in the PEP mechanic in Dragon Quest 11, which is a little confusing. Like, you get introduced to it because you do a quest that tells you about it, as opposed to just there being a text box saying, like, hey, you can do this, by the way.
Well, PEP is also random.
Exactly.
Like, it takes a certain amount of turns to charge up.
No, I know. I'm just saying that, like, you learn about it through a quest and talking to a character, not through a random text box that just appeared on screen.
Yeah, and then you learn about PEP powers the same way, which is, like, experiential. And you feel like you're actually doing something to learn the mechanic. Wow.
Yep, which is...
It's almost like good game design.
Yep. So, that's what, like, that kind of stuff is really good. I really like this puzzle game because, yeah, it has, like, the roguelike, and it has sort of that same, like, cadence of Hyrule. Like, you gotta be on beat and quickly thinking. Yeah. And I love playing Cadence of Hyrule, though I feel like it's most fun as a multiplayer game.
Have you ever played Crypt and the Necrodancer, like the original version of the game?
I haven't played the original because I might go to it, but I have to I'm gonna beat Cadence of Hyrule before going back.
Right, that makes sense.
So I'm really excited about, that Shovel Knight game. That looks really fun. And then, the re-release of the Amiibos, I'm getting those. And I think I'm probably going to try to look for a cheap copy of the Treasure Trove. It would be nice to have those games on my Switch and not on my Wii U.
Yeah, that way you can just play them whenever, wherever. And I'm pretty sure there is a physical copy. I could be wrong, but from what I saw like in store, sort of like tagged when I was looking it up.
I'm sure it's out there. I can find it.
Yeah.
Look, well, here's my thoughts. I follow Limited Run, who does like the limited revines of indie games and gives them physical releases. And there wasn't one for Shovel Knight. If there wasn't a limited run for Shovel Knight, they're doing it themselves.
Yeah. I mean, like, I saw a Switch case designed for it, so it's got to be, like, a thing.
I think I'm going to assume that it is out there.
Yeah, now it's all a matter of finding it. Yeah.
Through the realms of Amazon and eBay, and then actually going to a store.
Yeah. 'Tis how it goes, is it not?
Yep. So that was really cool. It's a really nice collection of stuff they have going on. I wish I had a chance to go and check them out during PAX East, but I really, I did feel like even at PAX East, I had things I've wanted to hit, and I hit a lot of them, and I just didn't have more time to hit more things.
Right.
Had I known I could have gone to a Yacht Club Games booth with hopefully not too much of a line, maybe I would have done that instead of going to the Kerbal, booth, but I also, just wanted more time there anyway.
Yeah, I understand.
But I did get a cool pin from the Kerbal thing.
Oh, neat.
I forgot to mention.
Was it like a little Kerbal?
It's two little Kerbal heads. I
Aw.
don't really use pins much, but it's cool.
Yeah, that's nice. I love when creators put nice little bits of merch in their game.
I also forgot to mention the Kerbal thing, and then they showed like a couple minutes of like what was in their most recent like every 2 weeks that studio does like an update meeting on like where all the teams are at, and they like showed some pieces of what they were doing from there. But to be honest, none of it was actually that interesting. It was like, oh look, they animated like the Kerbal looking in certain directions when the spacecraft is getting a force from a place.
I mean,
It was sort of like, it was like, oh, look at this developer inside stuff. I'm like, well, yeah, but it's not that interesting to see when it's on its own. Like, I know you have to do this, and I'm glad you are, but I don't really care to watch it.
right. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then on the same day that this Yacht Club Direct, or right around the same time, we also had the Animal Crossing Direct.
Yeah,
Now,
Animal Crossing.
I haven't played it, Animal Crossing, and I don't think you have either.
No, I've like played the phone version of it for like 10 minutes.
A day, like a day, and then you're like, this isn't fun.
Yeah, but I know a lot of people who have like played and adored like Animal Crossing New Leaf specifically.
That's our like generations like one, because that's when, I mean, that came out when
That's
we were in, like,
3DS.
yeah, high school. But like, I don't think there were a lot of people that played Animal Crossing for the GameCube that we know.
No, probably not. But still, Animal Crossing is like a beloved series, and it's easy to see why. Because that direct, I've never been excited for an Animal Crossing game, nor have I ever expressed interest in an Animal Crossing game. But I would be a liar if I said I was not excited for this game's release.
I really like how I mean, I don't have a better word for it than they Minecrafted it.
Yeah, honestly, like the game just looks so engaging. Like before, it was just
There's all-
go around, do this task. You felt like a fucking fetch quest simulator. But now it feels like I have agency over what I can do.
I always felt that it just felt like a sim, like it's Sims. I didn't really care that much, and now it feels like a build your own little island and world, which I really like.
I really like the multiplayer aspect that they're putting into it. That looks really nice.
Yeah, to be honest, that's kind of the only parts of this game that I really actually care about, and almost will probably determine my opinion on the game. Because I I don't think I'm very interested in the same way that like, and this is the same to true with like Minecraft or even other games like Stardew Valley, to that similar sense that these sort of just on your own, do in your own time, no real story, just kind of hang out, sim kind of games. I get really bored with on my own. So like I don't play Minecraft single player ever, but I do play it multiplayer.
Right.
And I play more Stardew Valley now single player, but I also go to that game once a year for a week and then forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm sort of at with Animal Crossing, is like I want the multiplayer, I want to act like a server. I want to have a world and then say, hey, Eli, come on it. And I want Eli to be able to feel like he has just as much agency and control in that world as I do.
Yeah, but which is the whole best friend system that they introduced.
So my other thing is I'm a little, maybe I'm just confused in it, but I don't know to what extent the best friends like allow you to do. Like they show that like it allows seemingly like world interaction, which is essentially like, I'm thinking of like that allows you to do the Minecraft version of opping somebody.
I think that's basically what it is. Yeah. But like for people that aren't your best friends, they can't like cut down trees, or they can like gather bugs and stuff. They can't like alter the world in any way, but with you, someone's your best friend.
They can't spleef you.
Yeah. But if someone's your best friend, they can alter the world and alter your island.
Which I really like and I'm glad they're doing, but I'm also wondering like, okay, can they literally set up their own house and interact with the shops in the same way?
Yeah, I think so. Because I remember that part of the direct was like, oh, you can build a house for your friends.
Because that's really what I want. I mean, I understand that like Minecraft obviously doesn't have like NPCs and like single player stuff, so putting two people versus one person in the world doesn't matter. But like I thought Stardew Valley does a really good job of like you can just hop into somebody else's world and basically have free range of the same world.
Yeah, which is nice. It's very nice.
And also like they do a really good job of being like Stardew Valley has that like the community center where you're supposed to like those long-term goals where you're supposed to bring items to, and I think like that's a shared one for the world, but you could still interact with it as a guest on my world, and I really like that part of it. Like I hope that Animal Crossing does a very similar thing where, you know, you're not boxed out of anything because it isn't your world.
I guess we'll have to find out when the game really comes out, or we can just like scrutinize the direct a little farther. But I don't think that's really necessary because I'm gonna get the game because honestly, it just looks really relaxing.
I'm definitely think I want to get it. And if you're gonna get it, I'm more inclined to get it because I feel like that's what we do with games now. Is if we want to play it together, we'll get them.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm mostly just gonna play the game single player because I like games that are relaxing. I don't want to have to feel pressured when I play a game, which honestly I play way too many competitive games to like really feel like whenever I play video games I'm winding down.
Yeah, but I want to wind down with my friends. I guess is what I want to do.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And that's one of the reasons why I liked playing Minecraft. And that's one of the reasons why I like playing RPGs. Like when I'm playing Pokemon or Dragon Quest, I feel like I can chill and play this game. I can do it at my own pace.
Yeah, action games are a lot more. Oh god, let's go.
Yeah, like Mega Man 11. I adore the game. I think it's so much fun. But god, it's difficult and it gets rage-inducing sometimes. Mega Man games that by like extension, they are difficult games because they're skill-expressive platformers.
Yeah, I don't play a lot of games that even I feel like get into that realm. I like, really don't delve much into the competitive games. Like the most fast-paced game I'm playing is like Smash probably.
Yeah.
Because I don't play many like real time. I don't know. Like I don't play like a lot of the competitive what you think of games. Like, you know, I don't play League. I don't really play many shooters at all.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
It's not your style.
I mean, I love TF2, but I haven't played that in a long time.
Yeah, I haven't played TF2 in a long time either, and that game is... Like, I love the game, don't get me wrong. I played... And I put way too much money into that game. I played that game for years, man. But, like, you know, sometimes games just fall out of your repertoire for a while. I'm sure I'll pick up TF2 again someday, but, like, right now, I'm content with the games that I play.
Well, that's when I call you and I say, hey, Eli, you want to play TF2?
I'll probably be like, yeah, let's play some TF2.
We should do that later, then.
Yeah, that actually sounds like pretty fun.
I just like going on and just NG spamming.
Yeah. I mean, like, I still... Because I did get into competitive TF2 for a while, actually. Like, the competitive Highlander games are 6v6. I believe they're called. And I was pretty good. I was making the rounds for different teams. But, you know, obviously, things changed, and I fell out of practice, and probably not as good as I used to be, but, you know, the competitive games were fun because they felt low stakes, and, like, there was a reward for the guy. Each person on, like, the winning team would get a hat. Like, that's it.
That's the good kind of rewards, because when you get salty, oh, you didn't get a hat? Oh, boo.
Yeah, it's like, oh, woe is you, you know?
I would definitely like to play that game enough to get more random loot.
Yeah, I mean, the random loot's just weapons these days, and weapons and crates.
Mm-hmm. Well, is there anything more you have on Animal Crossing? Because to me, like, the Direct was really, like, interesting and cool to see what they have, like, but it also, like, there was nothing, like, I freaked out about. I was like, oh, cool, I can do terrain stuff, and cool, and obviously, like, the multiplayer stuff was big.
Yeah, I really like the seasonal aspect of it, and how you can make yourself northern and southern hemisphere. I thought that was really fun. Like, that is
cool.
I really, really, really like that aspect of the game, because that makes things more dynamic year round. It's like, oh, you did everything you could in the spring, and you put down the game for a while. Then you're like, oh, right, I have Animal Crossing. You go back in, suddenly it's winter, and you can do different things. The game keeps the game fresh.
Is it real-time seasons, right?
I believe it's real-time.
That's pretty cool. Because Stardew Valley has the seasons, but it, like, the seasons are just for in-game days, not the real world.
I believe it was real world time. I could be wrong, but that was one of the more exciting things.
It looks like it is, because it looks like that it is definitely real world time, which I think is really cool. I think the terrain manipulation really steps the game up a lot.
Yeah, I would agree with you wholeheartedly on that because of that allows for real customization of your island. And I like how
Yeah.
you start out really modestly and you can like really build up. I think that's really really
Yeah,
neat.
I really like this starting with your, yeah, just like as a tent. I think it's really like fun.
The only thing I'm worried about is running out of like the my main concern with the game is running out of space.
Ooh, I hope that you mean like in your hut
In
per
your
se, like your
no on
tent.
your island, like you what if you have too
Oh,
many buildings and you still want to keep expanding stuff and you don't have the space to keep going.
well, there's that is the question. Like, so you can like add that, like they show them like adding dirt into like a river to like build into the river. Can you just make your island bigger, or is that not allowed?
I guess
I
that's
feel like
something we'll have to like find out, you know?
I feel like they cap like the oceans you can't affect. I feel like I would imagine like Nintendo wouldn't just let you. I feel like it just isn't gonna let you do that.
Yeah. But I guess we'll have to wait and find out in 12 days when I inevitably buy Animal Crossing and Doom Eternal on the
Right, because Doom
same
Eternal's coming out the
day.
same. I love all of the Doom Eternal Animal Crossing
Oh, the Doom
memes. They're
Eternal
so
and
fun.
Isabelle memes, they're so good. Have you
They're
seen?
really good. I've seen so many of them. I love them. Um, but to go back to the Animal Crossing and like the world size, I do wonder. Since this was like we had like the not being happy with the size of like Pokemon's open area. Like I don't know how big this place, the world in Animal Crossing, is gonna be, but they make it look pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, like, it seems like you can just like I mean, worst case scenario, you move things around and make space for it, but the islands don't seem small by any like expanse at all.
Well, they do this sort of. It's funny, like the way that they animate the world around you is it's not flat. It's like you're walking on a cylinder.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it hides a lot of like what's like you don't see a lot of background or anything. So you don't know how big it is, but it seems like it's somewhat pretty big. I mean, I imagine they have to be like making these worlds bigger than like the original Animal Crossing. And even that like world wasn't massive.
No, it's not Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. The other thing is I'm thinking from like a Stardew Valley comparison where in Stardew Valley you only have your little plot of land to like affect, but because you're not making machines, everything is kind of in a sense decorative. You don't really need a lot of extra space, I feel like.
Not necessarily, no.
But my thing is like when I start getting my friends over and they want to do their things, the next thing I know I have 4 to 8 people in my world, you know,
That's when things start getting a little cramped.
then you're like, we all need space. Um,
It's
I just
either make your
I'm
own
like,
space or work collaboratively, you know?
yeah. Well, I mean, I would like to do like I like the idea of both. Like I like the idea of like we like live together and like make our own little place, which I don't actually know is allowed. I'm sure you can just have multiple like tents set up in the same area, but I also like that sort of like hello neighbor.
Hello, neighbor. How are you? I'm good, neighbor. Yourself? Yeah. Yeah, I think those
Hell,
aspects of games are very fun. Um, it's like adding a little bit of an RPG element into a sandbox game. It's fun.
mm-hmm. I'm looking over the like I'm just watching the trailer here just to like refresh myself, and they're getting into this sort of online thing. It was interesting. I also like they seem to be like prioritizing the local multiplayer
That
of it like more than online, which is I don't know like why. I feel like this is just how Nintendo seems to always work.
I thought that was very interesting too. Mostly due to the fact that I don't think local multiplayer in Animal Crossing was a thing before, but I think it's really interesting that they are starting to put that into the game and really make that a prime feature of it.
Like I think it's cool, but I feel like it's sort of like the yeah, like Minecraft has LAN and then there's servers, and obviously like one is easier, I guess, than the other, and like yeah, we started by doing LAN before we ever made servers together.
Oh yeah, totally.
But when this is a game on a console like this, like why can't it just be like why don't you just make it the same? Like there shouldn't be a limitation.
Mm-hmm. I don't think there's necessarily going to be a limitation in that sense. I think it's just going to be, do you decide to play over network or do you decide to play locally? And I think both are valid because we can both play. I think it'll be the same avatar at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean it shouldn't change that much. Is kind of what you. I hope that it's just like they don't make it very different. Like remember when Mario Maker came out and it was like way different if you wanted to do like local versus online.
Oh yeah,
like,
that was
I mean,
difficult.
Or like yeah, you couldn't even do local in that. It's like I'm always confused by some of it. My other thing is like I don't really understand the point of local in some of these. Like why would I like I understand like the fun of it, but like just know that in the same way like local is cool like for like oh like play with your family or something like that, but like these are Switches, most of my friends have one,
Right.
I want to be on my own screen.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think it's kind of like I think they'll do a multiple Switch function. I think that like you'll be able to explore the island on your own screen and stuff like that. And from what I can see in the trailer, or at least what I remember, they do split it up into split screen if you go too far away, which is not the worst thing. Like in the a lot of like games that have multiple local play on a single screen, at least in terms of like free roam games, they don't let you leave the screen without your partner.
Yeah, it's nice that they do that, but I'm also just thinking there, except for like I don't know, a circumstance that that doesn't exist yet for me, is that I'm not ever gonna do that. I'm just gonna have my friend bring their Switch over and do like I might be on my TV, but they'll just be on their handheld, which is probably easier than us trying to both look at the TV.
Yeah, that's true. But either way, I'm excited for the game. I think it's got a lot of really great potential and a lot of really great mechanics that are going to bring the series forward, and I think that's super duper exciting.
I like the sort of that it is like this sort of a little bit of a change in direction. You know, it has the same sort of thing that like, oh, it's taking a lot of the stuff from the mobile game. Like in a sense that like this like customizing the area around your house as opposed to just in your house. But to be honest, I think that's really cool and really fun, and I like that feature a lot. And the terraforming, I feel like those two features are really do a good job of making the series like feel like fresh. And like for example, I didn't have interest in Animal Crossing and now I do because they added these things.
Other companies should take notes for their classic franchises because this is how you
You mean Pokemon? Game Freak instead of what is it, Nintendo?
Yeah.
I don't know when Nintendo's development studios are named and which one developed this one.
I think this was just made by General Nintendo, but I'm sure I could look it up.
Well, Nintendo has a bunch of different development studios.
Well, now it's time to find out who developed Animal Crossing. Nintendo Monolith. Apparently,
I don't think that's Monolith. I don't think it's Monolith Soft.
It is Monolith Soft. Nintendo Monolith Soft, Nintendo Entertainment Analysis, and whatever Entertainment Planning and ND Cube. Those are all the Animal Crossing developers. I'm looking at it right now.
For this game?
Just Animal Crossing for the series.
Oh. Yeah, I don't think Monolith worked on this game. Monolith probably helped out in, like, an earlier, like, the 3DS one or something.
Hold on. Now I gotta look at Monolith Soft.
What is the one for... I mean, Monolith Soft also helped develop Breath of the Wild, too.
Yeah, no, I think that, I think they're just a dev helper, but apparently they, like, Nintendo General and Monolith Soft was the second one after Nintendo. So I think that Monolith Soft does work on...
Monolith Soft offers a lot of open world rendering helpfulness. Because think about it, Monolith Soft figured out how to make the world of Xenoblade work on a Wii. They're really good at figuring out how to make worlds work on hardware.
Yeah. So I think that's why
they used
work
them in
on
Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah.
And even this game, because it has some amount of open worldness. Like, they just have sort of expertise in this realm.
Totally.
Also, people think, like, Monolith Soft is a really big studio. I think people think of it as, like, this indie thing. And it's like, no, Monolith Soft's really big.
Oh yeah, totally. I think Monolith is I mean, in terms of their skill as devs, it's unbelievable to see some of their, like, basically their resume.
Yeah. Well, also you have to remember that Monolith people are like, oh, it came into being in, like, 2010 with Xenoblade. I'm like, no, Monolith Soft has been making games since, like, the early 90s. They were just on PlayStation.
Yeah, totally. And I think
It is nice that I was just looking here. Like, it is nice that the houses do get bigger without taking up that much more space. Like, so you do get that sort of, like, it reminds me of, like, the Club Penguin when you'd have to, like, you could get the bigger house to hold more of your stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Which was, like, what you were concerned about. I mean, they just showed a house that had, like, multiple rooms, which I've never seen in Animal Crossing before.
I think that's super, super exciting, like, in terms of expansion and, like, really, like, personalizing things and making separate rooms, because I know you like that. You like having your rooms.
I do like building houses with rooms. Or building weird houses, which I have less of an ability to do here, but... well, that's fine. I mean, I'm not trying to make this Minecraft, otherwise I'll just play more Minecraft.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if I'm gonna get an Animal Crossing game, I'm playing it like an Animal Crossing game.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I'm just really hoping that it's not, like, a half-assed multiplayer. I hope it's, like, real deal, like... And it seems like that's what they're doing, but... It's just like, I don't know. I had a hard time to tell from the trailer when I watched it. Or the direct.
Yeah, either way, I'm interested in the game. I'm going to get it. I'm going to play it. And probably just have a nice, relaxing time building my island, I think, but in terms of all these, like, new and really great releases coming soon with Cyber Shadow, Animal Crossing, Doom Eternal, I think this year for gaming... And just wait till we get a Nintendo Direct. I have a feeling that's gonna knock our socks off. I can't wait.
There's gotta be one before May, because Xenoblade's releasing then, and they definitely haven't shown off enough of that game. Like, Nintendo doesn't show off a single Direct for a game that ends a Direct. You don't show it only once.
Oh no!
By the way,
hell no.
I'm reading the fine print. For the up to 8 users can live on one island. Up to 8 Nintendo account holders can live on the same island within each game. With one Nintendo Switch system and one game, up to 4 of those Nintendo account holders can play on the same island at the same time. That was a weird sentence.
Isn't that a good thing?
Wait, what? So, up to 8 Nintendo account holders can live on the same island within each game.
Right.
With one Nintendo Switch system, one game, up to 4 of those Nintendo account holders can play at the same time. So you can do 4-player split screen.
Mm-hmm.
It says additional accessories required, which means more Joy-Cons. With additional systems and games, up to 8 players can play on the same island at the same time via local, wireless, or online play. Nintendo Switch Island members and Nintendo account required. Not available in all countries. Internet access. Duh. So that... well, it's... You need Nintendo Online to play online. Thank you. So it does seem like that it's not going to restrict in some way the... It's not going to restrict whether you're doing it online or local, because they seem like they're just doing it very much the same way.
So that's what we want.
Yeah, I think so. And then obviously when you have local, you have this leader-follower sort of system they have, which I think goes away when you do multiplayer. When you do multiplayer online.
Yeah. I understand. All that seems like good stuff that we want.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And then for the local, at least, if you change leader, that person then can interact with the shops, but only the leader can, like, interact with the shops.
Okay. So it's not the worst thing, I don't think.
Yeah. Which, that to me, like, makes sense, because, like, I mean, if you're on one screen, that makes sense anyway. But I hope that you don't need to do, like, that level of, like, switching if you're just, playing online.
Oh, yeah. But I suppose we'll have to find out when the game comes out, but I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue because multiplayer, like the way Nintendo handles multiplayer with these kinds of games, I don't think is going to make a lot of issues for the player side. But I don't, what do I know? I'm not a game dev.
Do you mean like in that Nintendo's like just has like bad internet, like it's just bad connections always?
For Smash, at least.
I think this game is slow enough that I don't care.
Fair. That's very fair. So we're bridging onto an hour 40, so I think now might be a good time to start wrapping up the episode.
Yeah, well, I'm really excited I'm excited to see Animal Crossing. I'm really excited there are a lot of really cool games that are coming to Switch. I think that's really exciting.
Oh, absolutely. I think
like cuz Doom Eternal's coming to Switch.
I'm going to get it for PC cuz I want to I want the graphics.
I feel like would also want it on PC because I want to use a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah. I mean, I have an Xbox controller, but I don't think controller is the most optimal way to play the game.
I just don't like I've played enough Halo to know that I don't like using a gamepad to do first-person shooters.
Yeah, totally. Well, anyway, we hope you enjoyed this week's episode. We really talked about a lot of stuff, so it's hard to isolate the topic that we really talked about. So
Animal Crossing, coronavirus,
Doom, the Yacht Club.
I mean, I did name
Amiibos.
The episode. I named on the episode, on our sheet of paper, the episode Animal Crossing, now featuring coronavirus.
That's a great. That's a great name. I love it.
I think we that's the name of the episode.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm Eli, the other guy.
I'm Jeffrey, the other.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.